Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video in The Sims 1. We're going to be building a new community lot in Old Town, and we're building on the lot that used to be, what's the name of it? I can't remember the name of this lot, but it's the lot that has the pet judging competition, and there's a basketball hoop, like a little basketball court, and a swimming pool area, and I think there's a cafeteria, like a little cafeteria with a little lounge where you can sit and watch TV. And it's one of these lots that I really don't use very much. I don't know, I think it's just not very inspiring as a park for some reason. I feel like it's one of the first lots that I end up bulldozing in the neighborhood, because I'm kind of currently in the process of bulldozing quite a few of the default Maxis lots and kind of building up my new neighborhood from scratch with some new builds and some new families. And I don't know, I feel like I always bulldoze this community lot to build something else, usually like a residential lot, because it's quite a big lot. So I think it can be quite nice for a very large house. A few months ago I built a really big mansion on this lot, but it's actually not the biggest lot in the neighborhood. I mean, I think the lot that has Pet Paradise on it and the lot that has MacArthur Square, which is the other really big park, kind of on the other side of the river near where the Goth Senior family live. I think both of those two lots are actually bigger than this one. But I don't know, I think I like them both more. So if I'm going around bulldozing lots, I'll keep those in the neighborhood a little bit longer than this lot that I'm building on now, because I'm more likely to actually take my Sims there. So anyway, we're going to be building a community lot here. So it's going to be a jungle, an indoor jungle, kind of like a really big greenhouse with lots of different exotic plants. So it's kind of like almost a tourist attraction for Sims to come and experience something about nature or the plants that grow in other countries that you wouldn't necessarily see in suburbia. Some of the plants are the kind of plants you'd see maybe on Vacation Island, particularly in the hotter beach climate. But maybe not every Sim can afford to get away to Vacation Island to experience that. So it's quite nice that the local council has been generous enough to develop the lot, and of course it's free of charge, it's free to enter, and it's always free to travel to Old Town anyway. The Old Town shuttle is free, so it's kind of like very accessible to all. I think it could be quite a good place to bring a date actually, because I end up placing a couple of benches inside the jungle and a couple of fountains as well. And because the atmosphere is quite nice, maybe when the sun goes down and the lights come on and you can maybe take your date in there and just kind of chill, maybe, I don't know, kiss or cuddle or whatever it is that you want to do. I wanted to use the stepping stone floor tiles to kind of guide a path through the jungle. So you kind of enter through one set of double doors and then you walk through the entire length of the building and explore all the different plants. And then I also wanted to have part of the jungle slightly elevated and have some of the plants up on a little bit of a hill. And I don't know, I have a weird feeling that this has caused a glitch with the roof, because initially when I was building the outside construction of the jungle, the roof was showing up on top of the building. But I think sometimes when you raise or lower the elevation of the terrain very close to where a roof is, it causes a glitch where the roof either disappears or it kind of dips below where it should be, and it looks like there's kind of a gap between the main part of the roof and the part of the roof that's covering where the terrain has been changed. And I think in the case of this lot, it's just got rid of the roof altogether. So I don't exactly know at what point that happened when I was building, but I remember going to check if the roof was still there, and I wanted to see how it looked so far, and the roof was just not there. So it's kind of strange, but I did start to think, you know what? It would kind of make sense if the jungle had a see-through roof, like a glass roof, because I'm kind of pretending that the entire construction is made of glass anyway, even though it's not. I've just put lots of glass windows around the outside of it. But why not let's pretend that the roof is completely made of glass and that's why you can't see it? Because as I went on and started placing the other buildings on this lot that are going to be other places to visit, all of these buildings have the roof showing up with no problem whatsoever. So I thought, I think I'm just going to go with this interpretation of events, that the jungle has a glass roof and the other buildings on the lot have the roofs that you would expect them to have. I do find it a little bit of a limitation in The Sims 1 that you can't change roofs for different buildings on the same lot separately. Either the roof color, the different tiles that you use, or the height and the pitch of the roof. There's just not very many possibilities there. You kind of have to really consider the roof when you start building, because it's like that's really going to determine how the build ends up looking, and it's something you don't have that much control over. But I actually think the jungle ends up looking quite cool without a roof, so I wasn't too disappointed that it turned out that way, to be fair. Although I wonder if I randomly go back into my game and the roof will just suddenly show up. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened, because it's definitely glitched or something's happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Another weird roof glitch I've noticed in my game lately is, you know, when you hover the mouse over an occupied house or a community lot that you're visiting, and the roof kind of fades away and you can see inside the building from the neighborhood view. I've noticed that's like not always happening to recent houses and community lots that I've built, and I'm kind of wondering what's caused that, because it still happens with the existing pre-built houses and the pre-built community lots. So yeah, that's not exactly the same issue, but it's another roof related issue. I don't know what's causing that. But yeah, anyway, I ended up having quite a few different sections within the jungle for the different varieties of plants. So there's one section that's kind of got a lot of the plants you'd see on Vacation Island at the beach. There's lots of cactuses and different shrubs that you'd see there. And I put some kind of dirt terrain underneath it to kind of differentiate it from the rest of the jungle. Then the elevated part of the terrain has mostly palm trees and some bright pink shrubs. Then there's also a stream that kind of runs behind the elevated part of the terrain. And at the other end of the jungle, there's a little Japanese inspired area with some bamboo and a bonsai plant and another little place to sit down up there. I think it would have been quite cool to have some long hanging lights, because it's a 2-story building and there's a lot of space, and I think that could have added quite a cool kind of light effect in the room. But you can't really put lights where there's no floor tile underneath. The game doesn't let you do that. So I had to settle for just putting some wall lights and a couple of kind of garden outdoor lights in amongst some of the shrubs. So when you go in there at night, it should still be quite nicely lit up. Then we kind of move on to the rest of the lot. And because this is quite a big lot, I wanted to make sure that there were lots of different places to visit and different activities that you could do while coming here, as well as just visiting the indoor jungle, because otherwise it's just a bit like it's just something to see and just chill and relax, which is fine, but I think it's nice to have something a bit more interactive as well. So there's 3 other main businesses, I suppose you could say, on the lot. Firstly, there's a farm shop, and obviously the community lot that was here before didn't have a farm shop or any kind of gardening gameplay that you could really do here. So I thought it would be quite nice to add that. So it's just a place where you can buy seeds and sell vegetables, and you can talk to the professional gardener when you go into live mode and visit the lot, and you can buy plant tonic and, ask him questions about gardening and things like that as well. It took me a while to decide where I wanted to have all the outdoor crops because I really wanted to fit them in the little outdoor space just around the sides of the shop. And I don't know, I wanted to have like the scarecrow standing guard over the crops, but at the same time I didn't want to have all the crops just shoved up together. I wanted to kind of separate them out. So I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out the configuration of the crops. Although, they're really just for looks. You're not really going to buy any of those plants specifically. I just wanted the garden to look quite nice with the different types of vegetables arranged in different rows. I also felt it was important to have a place in Old Town where you can buy some cooking ingredients. I say cooking, it's more like baking, isn't it? Because in Make and Magic you can buy the baker's oven, and then you can go to Magic Town and buy baking ingredients to bake cakes and bake bread. And even though it's kind of part of the magic world, it's kind of like it's a Make and Magic feature. I feel like it's the sort of thing that a non-magic sim might also want to do. So I decided to put some of those displays in the farm shop as well. One of the displays is where you can buy baking mix and sugar and honey, I think, and possibly something else. And then there's another display where you can buy grapes for nectar making, and I thought, why not have that display as well? I think it looks quite nice in the farm shop. It looks like it belongs there, and it looks like the kind of thing you'd maybe pick up on a trip to the market. There are 2 other buildings on the lot. So next to the farm shop, there's the toilets, and there are plenty of doors to get in and out of them. So hopefully nobody's going to get stuck in there with the roaming jazz musician. Then just outside the toilet block, there's a little, not a plaza area, just a little seating area with a fountain. And I initially put a load of flowers around it, but I went back and deleted those flowers because it didn't quite look how I wanted it to look. So that's just kind of a place to sit and relax just in between the farm shop and then the shop on the other side, which is actually a pet shop. So it's going to be a place to adopt new pets, adopt small pets as well as cats and dogs, buy pet treats and collars and anything that you want to get for your pet. I had thought about splitting up the space in this pet shop into kind of an area for, well, either toilets in the pet shop or a cafeteria, because I realized there's nothing to eat on the lot. There's nowhere to get any food, and it would kind of make sense on a lot of this size to have a proper place to get food. But then I thought it might be quite nice to have a cafeteria as a separate kind of business. So I had the idea of having a spiral staircase that leads up to the second floor, and there's a little balcony on top of the pet shop with the cafeteria as well. So you can go in there and get pastries or get a coffee and then either sit inside the cafeteria or go out on the balcony and sit outside and then sort of look down below at the farm shop, but also at the jungle, because you can see through the windows of the indoor jungle. and kind of appreciate that from maybe a height, because you're kind of up on the second floor. There's nowhere else on the lot where you can go actually onto the second floor, even though the indoor jungle does have 2 floors. It's just so there's lots of space above the trees, so it feels like there's lots of air for the trees to breathe, and it feels like a really open kind of space, kind of imitating the outside. But the only place where you can actually go onto the second floor is the cafeteria. So I thought that was kind of a nice place you could go and maybe chill out at, maybe once you've done a little bit of shopping and you've walked through the indoor jungle, and yeah, you're ready to kind of rest your feet a little bit. A couple of months ago, I built a lot called the Old Town Community Shops that has like a pizza parlor and a library, as well as a pet store and a coffee shop. And I feel like this lot now is kind of like a expanded version of that, maybe. I mean, actually, it's not really the same at all, because it doesn't have a library and it doesn't have a pizza parlor. So it's actually not the same at all. But just the idea of having multiple shops on one lot. The lot I built before was a lot more compact. It was a lot smaller, and all of the shops were kind of on top of each other, like they felt very, very close to each other. But that was almost like I'd wanted it to be kind of like an arcade, where you go into one building and then there's lots of vendors that are all kind of right next to each other. I don't think I'm explaining that very well, but I guess what I'm saying is this lot is a lot more spacious, and there's still kind of a different variety of shops, as well as the indoor jungle, which is kind of the attraction, I guess you could say. Anyway, I think I've talked enough about this build. I wanted to talk a little bit about the re-release of The Sims 1 and The Sims 2. At the time that I'm recording this voiceover, they haven't been released yet, but I think by the time this video is out, they will have been released. I put a poll on my community tab and asked how you guys were feeling about these games being re-released. I feel like EA is probably more interested in tapping into nostalgia to sell their current packs and kits for The Sims 4. I think it's a good thing though to be able to hopefully play these 2 games without needing fixes on modern computers. People who have not been able to enjoy these games recently and have wanted to will be able to again. So if you're interested in purchasing them, or if you're not interested in them, or if you have any opinions or thoughts about these new releases, definitely leave a comment and share your thoughts. Maybe you haven't played for ages and you haven't been able to for tech reasons, and you're excited to play again, or maybe you're just not that bothered because you've been playing The Sims 1 and 2 this whole time anyway, so it maybe doesn't affect you so much. I'll put the link for downloading this lot in the description if you want to add it to your game. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.